Hello! This video has purpose to show and explain a audio system that I've made for physical object. The system takes count of the location of the impact to dynamically play the correct sound. It also takes care of the rolling and sliding sound effect. I'll show you the result. After that, I will explain how I made it. First of all, the audio system has been made into a actor component. This made it faster to scale the system and to create multiple physical objects. The system is all triggered by the event hit. To make it work, don't forget to enable Simulate Physics and Hit event into your static mesh. The event hits feed into a custom event from the actor component, where multiple variables are being fed. The target is the actor component. The impulse is the normal impulse, transformed into a float. The velocity is the mesh velocity transformed into a float. The location is the hit location. The mesh is simply the static mesh. The audio impact is an audio component that we're going to use for the impact sound effect. We also going to have a second audio component for the rolling and sliding sound effect. The rest are for visual, so we won't talk about that. All of the system is triggered with the event hit. This event triggers a lot even when the object barely moves. This is why the system starts with a branch to block any object with a low velocity value. I'll pass this sequence and come back to it at the end. Since the event hit triggered too fast, all of the core system get deployed by a loop made with a do once and a random delay. This random delay made it sound more natural. Into the sound effect function, we have two sections, one for the impact and another one for the rolling and sliding. Those two sections get selected with this branch, where we take the impulse and look if it is in range from the last impulse. If the value is into the range, it goes into rolling and sliding. If not, it goes into the impact. When an object is smoothly rolling or sliding, its impulse will be stable, and if it is bouncing, its impulse will be all over the place. This is how I discover how to separate the rolling and the sliding from the impact. Into the impact session, it all starts with a function to decide which sound to play depending on the location of the impact. They start with socket that you need to add into the socket manager of the mesh. With this barrel, I want a flatter sound when it hits its extremity, and I want a hollow sound when it is around the center. This is why I have socket on the extremity and the center. To add a socket, simply add it and place it. Your socket will each have a sound attached to them, and the nearest one from the impact will be selected. It all starts with a for loop, where we look at all the sockets of the mesh, add it to an array, and compare all of their location to the impact location. We then get the one with the lowest value to be able to select the nearest socket from the impact. With the correct socket name, we can find our meta sound using a map. We then look at the velocity to drive the volume of the impact. We then finally play the meta sound. We finish the function by clearing the float array to make it ready for the next impact. What's left for the impact session is to set the last impulse to compare it to the next one. Into the rolling and sliding section, we start with a branch to look if we are already into the rolling state, and we only play the meta sound if we are not. We also set the pitch and volume depending on the velocity and set the rolling state to true. To finish, we need to go back to the impact section. Since the rolling and sliding sound effect is a looping sound, we need to stop the sound and to set the rolling state to false. The last step of the system is to take care of the impact at the instance where the rolling state is being interrupted, since all of the system is triggered by a random time loop and the rolling impact could happen anytime. I made a sequence to look if the actor is in the rolling state, and if it is also into the impact's impulse range, it will mean that the object will be rolling and it will be suddenly being interrupted. In that case, we play the impact function. I also have a to-do once delete loop in case the object gets stuck while rolling. That's to conclude the explanation of the system. I hope this helped someone as I was looking for this information in the past.